Arun sir, are you presenting your screen?
Sir, I'll do it.
Okay. I request all the participants to pin today's speaker's presentation screen. A warm good morning to all the participants. St. Joseph's, in its 26th year, takes pleasure and pride to welcome you all for this webinar, Newton's Law of Motion, Missed Fact. On this very warm morning, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our dynamic chairman, sir, Dr. B. Babu Manogaran, Mrs. B. Jessipriya, Managing Director, St. Joseph Group of Institution, Mr. P. Sasisegar, Director, St. Joseph Group of Institution, and I'd like to thank our principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran, sir, who has been the backbone of all the events organized by our department. And I'd like to thank our HODs, Dr. K. Arun Vasangiran, sir, and Dr. V. Savitri, ma'am, for his continuous support and motivation for all the events organized by our department. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing our today's speaker, Mr. Arun Sundaranayagam. I welcome you, sir. I thank and on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, for accepting our invite and for being here. A short introduction about our today's speaker. He has graduated his post-graduation in engineering design in Anna University, CG campus. Upon his pursuit of happiness towards his engineering and research, he started pursuing his PhD in IIT Madras, and he has over 10 years of teaching experience. He started as an adult teaching faculty at NIT Trichy, and he has handled classes at Madras Institute of Technology, Cronpet, for Gate Aerospace during the year August to December 2019. And he has handled classes for Gate Mechanical for various reputed coaching centers such as Times, Gate Forum, IES Gate Academy, StoreGator, Gatewin, and Friends Gate Academy. Adding to his patches of merits, he has qualified GATE Engineering Science in the year 2011, and he has qualified GATE exam Mechanical Engineering for the year 2012, 13, 14, 17, and 20, and Aerospace for 2019. And has qualified IIT JAM Physics for the year 2018 and 19. And currently is running his own firm for GATE since 2012, with his Unique Academy. And he has been spent as a tutor for GATE Mechanical, Aerospace, Production, and Industrial Engineering. And he has been a tutor for Physics, NEET, JEE, IIT JEE, Civil Service Mains, and he has been a tutor for Max JEE Civil Service. For this, I request Mr. Arun sir to take over the session.
Thank you, Krishna Kumar sir. Hello all. Welcome. Sir?
So we can just confirm whether all the participants are able to see the presentation screen. Participants, please pin pin. You can see in the people's list. You can see Unique Academy presentation from the people list.
Yeah, we can see the slides, sir. First slide we can see.
Yeah, okay. I request all the participants to pin the screen so that the screen will not be navigated through the session. I request all the participants to pin the Unique Academy presentation screen. Okay. Yes, so we can start the session, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your warm introduction. Fine. I hope the presentation is visible to you, and also with the, my audio is also audible for you. I think so. Okay.
Yes,
fine.
that's perfect.
Thank you, sir. Fine. Today I would like to give this lecture on Newton's laws of motion, Mr. Facts. I reframed this sentence, this Newton's law to laws of motion, because this laws of motion has been contributed by not only by Newton. It took decades. It took more years to frame this kind of law of motion. This has to be contributed to more people than Newton. Isaac Newton, what he did, he made everything in a good format, and he made it in the book of Principia in his book. So I will make this lecture as laws of motion missed facts. Newton's law, usually we call it as Newton's law of motion. Okay, we'll move on. I'll introduce myself and move on to this lecture. I am Arun Sundaranayagam, and I have a small firm named at Unique Academy, and has 2 branches at Chennai. It's a very small firm, and it gives training for GATE, ES, ISRO, and as Krishna Kumar had mentioned, for mechanical, aerospace, and civil. And for IIT JAM, this is an exam to pursue MSc in IIT and NIT, and JEE mains and advanced also. Thank you. I'll move on to the lecture. This is a small introduction about myself. and the contributors to the laws of motion are more peoples. I would like here I have listed from the left. I will go with it. Here is Aristotle, and the center person is Galileo, and the last is Newton. These are the people's contributors for laws of motion. When people started studying nature, when they started studying nature, due to that, when they started studying nature, due to that, these laws of motions has been emerged. These laws of motion has been emerged. First was the Aristotle. Aristotle studied Aristotle law of motion was there. Aristotle, what did Aristotle did? Aristotle, he connected two behavior, two different physical behavior to a single equation. What are the two physical behavior? Two different fields, different field. That is, one is force. Force is nothing but it's push or pull. And he related force quantity, the quantity of force, and motion. What's the motion quantity? If something is moving, if you see something is moving, it has velocity. So he related motion and force, motion quantity and force quantity. These two are different physical quantities. Force and motion are different physical quantities. He related that. Aristotle gave a statement: if we have a force, the body will move. He gave a statement that it has been it was true till still 2000 years. It was true. No one didn't rephrase that statement. Aristotle told he related force and motion, and he was the first to, and it's also known as Aristotelian mechanics. Every people in the world will believe that if we have force is motion, it will have motion. If we have force, we'll have motion. Is Aristotelian mechanics. And what did Galileo did? And the first law and the second law, what we tell as of now, Newton first law and second law was stated by Galileo. Actually, it was stated by Galileo, Newton first law, and it was reframed and written as a statement. As I mentioned in the earlier, it was reframed and written. It was reframed and made in a Paka format in the Book of Principia by Newton. Okay, this is Newton, and it was a book. This was the book, and he made law of motion 1, law of motion 2, and law of motion 2, and now it is called Newton's law of motions. This is the historical background. Okay, when you're doing such kind of analysis in mechanics, we have to be very clear with one word. This word is system. If you are a mechanical engineer, you have been used with this word system in thermodynamics. Most probably we'll be using this word system in thermodynamics. What is in system? System is nothing but we're going to choose a particular region or particular object, and we're going to focus only on that, and we are going to do the research on it. That is system. System is a very common word. We have economic system, fundamental system, family system. We have a banking system, or operation system in computer science. And system is a very common word. And we are, as a mechanical engineer, it has been used in most widely used in thermodynamics. Not only in thermodynamics, we can use the same word for mechanics also. That is thermodynamic system. So if you want to do a system, if you are trying to do something, if you are trying to do something research, and we are used with this, but this terminology is not comfortable with this. That is, if you want to do particular research and you are going to focus only on that. I would like to give an example, and I usually give this example to my students whenever when I delivering my lecture based on system. System. If you want to do, if you want to air condition your room, if your room is your system, you are going to air condition your room, and your room is going to be a system. You have so what is the thing that you have to do? And I have given in another word. Every system must have well-defined boundary. You should know what is your boundary, what is your space, until how much. If you want to say in Tamil, you should know your boundaries. Boundaries. If you have a generosity mind. If you are so generosity, if you are so generous, and you can have your air conditioned tour also your next home, next room also, in nearby your next room also. But you don't want to do that. You what will you do? You do only air condition for your system, for your room only, So what is your boundaries are your boundaries are fixed. Your boundaries are your walls and the windows and the upper ceiling and the um, lower bottom floors. These are your systems. System means you should what system means what you are focusing it and what you are interested for, and you should have a very defined boundary. And surrounding, everything outside your room is going to be a surrounding, the atmosphere, and heat comes from the atmosphere to inside your room. You have to consider that. So you have to know about your system, and also you have to know about your surrounding, and you have to think how the system is interacting with your surrounding. You need something to interact. When you're there, you need some interaction. So you should know about your system also, and you also know all your surrounding also. The system and surroundings are separated by a boundary. So in mechanics also, we do have a terminology system. We have to be very clear what we are going to do your analysis. Okay, next comes, if you are doing your mechanics problem, the first thing, you need a proper coordinate system. So what is a proper coordinate system? Where you are going to stand and do the analysis. That you have to be very clear with. So if you are standing at a particular place, and you have to be very clear about your place, whether you are standing on a floor on the earth, or whether you are standing on a car which is moving or something. You can also do your analysis while moving in a car. While moving in a car, or while sitting in a place, or standing on a place. So when you are there and you are doing some research on that, so that is known as reference frame. Reference frame is, it might be seems to be a very what is this word? This word is you have to be very clear about your reference frames. Reference frame means you should have a proper suitable coordinate system for your analysis. When you are doing analysis on mechanics, you have to define your coordinate system, and you need a timer. A reference system is a contribution of coordinate system and a timer, and your reference frame is where you are standing and doing your analysis. Okay, and there is a still confusion in the reference frame, and some people will tell that only coordinate system is enough. Some people will tell that timer, coordinate system and timer must be there, and there is a still confusion between reference. What is a clear definition of reference frame? We will consider that reference frame is a coordinate system plus a timer. Okay, we'll move forward, and here we have velocity. Velocity is nothing but the rate of change of position vector. Acceleration, rate of change of acceleration, it is rate of change of velocity vector. And we have another quantity. The rate of change of acceleration is jerk. Okay, I came to know about these three terminologies only during my bachelor's. I came to know about the rate of change of acceleration is jerk, and there are also still more also derivative. And acceleration is nothing but the second derivative of the position vector. Jerk is the third derivative of the position vector. When I was preparing for this lecture, I came to know of the fourth derivative of position vector is jounce, and the fifth derivative is crackle, sixth pop, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. And these much derivatives are there, and these are only for fancy stuff. Don't want to think whether I have to know about these things. And I'm trying to introduce these are fancy stuff, so it makes lecture interesting. So that I made it in these kind of thing. Fine. And here, velocity vector. Fine. Velocity vector. What is a velocity vector? Velocity vector is nothing but the rate of change of position vector. Okay, rate of change of position vector. Oh, rate of change of position vector is so if there is a vector, you can do two things. You can have the magnitude first, that is v written and multiplied with v cap, and it is known as direction of the vector. Direction of the vector. So if you can multiply with it. It is a scalar multiplication with it's a scalar multiplication with the magnitude and the direction. And there is v cap, it is written. That v cap is known as unit vector. Okay, v vector can be written as v multiplied with v cap. Okay, so velocity is being defined to be tangent to the path. If your path is a straight line, and this is the tangent of the straight line. And I will explain you tangent to the path or tangent to the trajectory. If a particle is moving like this, so this is the path, or this is known as the trajectory of the particle. Okay, so this will be the velocity will be tangent to the path of the motion of the particle. So velocity is a vector. It has magnitude, the rate of change of position vector v dotted with unit vector. Okay, so unit vector, and it is I have defined it here, and velocity is always tangent to the path, and I'll explain you how tangent will be there. And this is a tangent. Okay, I'll explain you tangent here. This is a circle. We have a circle here. We have a circle here, and this is known as the center of the circle. Okay, and if you connect a line from a point, if you connect a line, connect a line on the point on the curve, and the center of the curve, this is known as the green line is known as the normal line, and the line perpendicular to the normal line is known as tangent. Okay, so if you have a particle moving in a circular fashion, and if the particle is at this point and it's moving like this, the velocity vector will be pointing in this direction. The velocity vector will be pointing in this direction, and the velocity vector will be tangent to the path. Velocity vector is tangent to the path, so I have given this slide. Normal is nothing but connecting the center of the curve and the point on the curve, and tangent is perpendicular to the normal line. We'll move forward. And here, I already have explained to you velocity has magnitude and direction. What is acceleration? If either the magnitude changes or the direction of the velocity vector changes, we will have acceleration. If you have the change in magnitude means value, a number. If you have a change in number, change in the velocity, if you have change in the value of the velocity, or the change in direction of the velocity. If a particle is moving like this, so your velocity will be like this. Velocity direction will be like this. Okay, I'll give you some examples to understand a little bit more here. So acceleration is either if you change in magnitude or change in direction, you will have acceleration. Direction of velocity, you will have what? Acceleration. Okay, now we'll go with a simple example, the ball at rest. So I'm going to, I have drawn a road here, and the road, there's a ball at 4 meter. Okay, the ball is at 4 meter, and this is my coordinate system that I have chosen, and this is my plus x direction. We don't have x axis which is laid on the road. What we have to do, the start, when you should start the analysis, and our origin will not be given. When we are doing research or analysis, or we are given something, everything will be not given. We have to take what we have to do. We have to consider, we have to think what we have to do. So here the origin is there, and I'm going to give a number line here, and it's given -3 to 5 with equal spacing. It's done here, and this is the initial position vector. Initial position means position vector, nilai vector. It's going to be in that state. And the nilai, it's going to be at that state, and it's at what? From the origin, it is at 4 meter, and it is pointing in the plus x direction. So what is the initial position vector? It's nothing but the position vector at time 0 second. I started my timer, and at that 0 second, the ball is at here. If the ball is at rest, for 1 second also, the ball will be at the same location. The position vector at time 1 is equal to 4 meter. Still it is in the same position because the ball is at rest. For the second, it's there. Third, my timer is moving on. 4th second and 5th second, the ball is at the same position, 4 meter in the positive x-axis. The ball is in 4 meter in the positive x-axis. The ball hasn't changed its position. So for the change in time, the timers keep on moving. The position hasn't changed. So that implies no velocity, that implies no acceleration. There's one myth there. If there is no velocity, no acceleration. Don't think like that. Don't think like that. If there is zero velocity, we can have acceleration. If there is zero velocity, we can have acceleration. So one example, if you have a pendulum like this, oscillating like this, if the pendulum is at this position, this is known as the extreme position. This is known as extreme position. At this extreme position, the velocity is zero, but we do have acceleration. So if you put a ball, throw it up, and when it is at the top of when it goes up and come down, when it is at this top, the velocity in this direction will be zero. So if velocity is zero, we can have acceleration. So you have to understand it very clear. No change in position, no velocity, and that implies no acceleration. Okay, so here I have considered you one simple case, a ball at rest. And if a ball is moving at 1 centimeter per second and it's going to move towards your right, okay, 1 centimeter per second it's going to move, and the grids are placed, and we will not given a grid on the road when we are doing our analysis. We have to place it for our convenience, and we have to do our analysis. For the first second, the ball has moved 1 centimeter, and for the second, it has moved 2. Third second, it's moved there, and for the fourth second, it's moved in the 4th centimeter, and here at the 5th second, it's there. Now, I have taken screenshots of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Each second, I have taken the screenshot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to merge all the 1st second, 2nd second, 3rd second, 4th second, and 5th second. And I have merged it, and I have placed it. So what I want to make you here to understand, the ball is traveling in a uniform velocity. It is moving with a constant speed for equal time interval. It has moved equal distance. You see, for the first second, it has moved 1 centimeter. For the second second, it has moved 1 centimeter. Third second has moved 1 centimeter. And it keeps on. For each second, it has moved equal distance. And the one thing that you have to note in this is they are traveling in a straight line. The ball has moved in a straight line, and this diagram is known as the motion diagram in physics. This is known as the motion diagram. So here I want equal distance traveled in equal time interval in a straight line. I want to mention this. If you are traveling in a bike, with your friend, and you're moving in a straight road, very smooth road, and there's no speed breakers there in the straight road, what means, would you have been accelerated your bike? You will not accelerate your bike. You will not give any acceleration. You're moving in 30 km/h, say 30 km/h, and moving in a very straight line, and you have not turned anywhere, no turns, ups and downs. You're moving in a very straight road, 30 km/h, smooth road, no one is going to get crossed, very clean road. You're moving straight. You haven't kept your hand in your acceleration. So one thing from here you have to note it. When you are moving constant velocity, straight line, there is zero acceleration. And we discussed one case for the ball at rest, the acceleration is zero. And when you are moving with the constant velocity, straight line, the acceleration is zero. Okay, here. And the above two case, acceleration zero case. When we have a ball and the ball is rotating like this, when a ball is rotating in a circular fashion, for per second it is moving it is moving 90 degrees. 90 degrees, with that angular velocity the ball is rotating. If the ball is rotating like this, I have already given you the word, the velocity will be always tangent to the path. The velocity will be always tangent to the path. So when the ball is going to move like this, so at this location, the velocity will be like this. And at this location, the velocity will be like this. Okay, here the ball is moving with constant angular velocity. So the magnitude of what is when a ball is rotating, we'll use the formula omega into r, angular velocity into r, and the radius is fixed, and the radius is fixed, and you are moving with so when the ball is at this location, your velocity vector will be like this, and when the ball is at this location, the velocity vector will be like this. So constant magnitude, but what happens? The direction is changing. Here it will be like this, and here it will be like this. When the ball comes here, the velocity vector will be like this. Here, like this. So the length, the magnitude is going to be the same, but what the direction is keep on changing. So for this case, you will have acceleration. I told you either the magnitude changes, or the direction changes. Either the magnitude or the direction changes, you will have acceleration. Here, the direction of the velocity is going to change. Here, the direction of the velocity is going to change. Now, this is another case for acceleration. Here we have acceleration for a circular thing. Now here, for this, the direction of the velocity was changing. Look here, there's a bike here, and the bike is moving with the velocity 5 meter, 10 meter, then it's increasing for the next second 15 meter per second, and the next second it is 20 meter per second. Here, one thing you have to be, what is happening here? In this, the magnitude of the velocity is increasing. If you look, you are going to accelerate, the magnitude of the velocity is increasing, but your direction of the velocity is same. For the last case, for the uniform circular motion, the magnitude is constant, but the direction changes. Here, the magnitude is keep on increasing. The velocity vector length is keep on length increases means magnitude increases. The velocity vector length is increasing, but the direction remains constant. So if the magnitude changes, this is the case we are comfortable with. When you want to increase this, when we increase the speed, we'll keep our hands in the acceleration. The magnitude of the velocity increases, the direction remain constant. For this case, this is a case for speeding up. Always we will think that the velocity direction and the acceleration direction will be in the same. It's not the case like that. Velocity and acceleration will not, doesn't means has to be in the same direction. By definition, acceleration is nothing but the change in the velocity with respect to time. So acceleration will be in the direction of the change in velocity vector. Okay, change in velocity vector. For this case, the velocity vector and the acceleration vector will be in the same direction. When we come to the uniform circular motion, the velocity vector will be like this, will be perpendicular to the, will be tangent to the path, and the acceleration will be pointing towards the center. Uniform circular motion will have acceleration pointing to, this is acceleration direction, and this is the velocity direction at this second, 0 second, for a circular motion. So here for constant circular motion, here it velocity direction, and here there will be the acceleration direction. For this case, velocity direction and acceleration direction are in the same direction. Okay, if we move on forward, and this is the case, the magnitude of the velocity decreases. 20 meter per second, 18 meter per second, 16 meter per second, and 14 meter per second. The velocity keeps on decreasing. The time is moving. So here the magnitude, the length, the magnitude means length of the vector, magnitude decreases when it keeps on moving, and the direction still remains the same. Okay, so I already told you that acceleration, when we do have velocity is a vector, yes, magnitude and direction. If the magnitude changes or the direction changes, the magnitude changes or the direction changes, we will have what? Acceleration. Now, I would like to explain resultant force of a system. What resultant force of a system? Here we have it's a small example of a tug war problem. Tug war. We would have seen this in many. We would have played also. So, which team will win? Which team gives the most force will win. Resultant force is nothing but unbalanced forces. So if this team gives 10 Newton and this team will gives the left team gives 10 Newton and the right team gives a total force of 15 Newton, which team will win? The right team will win because the forces, the 5 Newton is not balanced and 5 Newton will be in that direction. Okay, it will be in the 5 Newton will be in that direction. So what is the system? System means where we'll focus our attention. I have already explained it. What is system? We are where we are focusing. So in this problem, what is our system? For this problem, the main objective is for the umpire, he has to decide who is going to win. So how will he find who is winning? Automatically, the umpire will focus on the ribbon which is tied at the center. He will look at the ribbon, and that is our system for this case. So he will focus his attention on the ribbon, whether it's move here, move here. No, we don't have a very sophisticated and measurable force measurement for a tug war problem. We don't do such kind of thing. We simply pull the rope and we'll check. So if check who is going to have the greater value, where the ribbon goes, that's it. The thing is done. So resultant force is nothing but the unbalanced force. So resultant force is also given another some words: resultant force, net force, unbalanced force, equivalent single force, and still lots are there. I have listed something. These are unbalanced force. What is the unbalanced force? If the left team gives 10 Newton and the right team gives 15 Newton, the unbalanced force is 5 Newtons and it's going to pointing towards the right. Okay, so the right team wins with 5 Newton. That is known as resultant force or unbalanced force. Okay, until Newton, what happens? Until Newton, everyone was thinking that until Newton, not until Galileo, and until Newton made it in a very proper fashion, we'll take it as Newton itself. Until Newton, force causes motion. Motion means velocity. Force causes the body to be in motion. Okay, after Newton, they told force doesn't causes motion, force causes change in motion. So as of now, force doesn't causes motion, they causes only change in motion. Will come here. Everyone in the world will believe that force causes motion, but Newton restated a statement: force causes change in motion. So here is the first law of motion. First law of motion: a body free from interaction will experience zero net force. Net force means it's nothing balanced force. Unbalanced force, you don't know. I told unbalanced force is zero. What does it mean? The left side team is going to give 10 Newton and the right side team is going to give 10 Newton. That means they are in a that is the case for net force zero. Your body is free from interaction. It is so free, that means the net force is zero. If a body is if it has net force zero means it will be at rest or uniform rectilinear motion. Uniform rectilinear motion means it's moving in a straight line with a constant velocity. It's not going to change its direction. It's going rectilinear motion means a motion of an object in a straight line. It's going to move in a very straight line fashion, very uniform, very gradually. It doesn't accelerate like this, or it doesn't slows down like this. Okay, or it's not going to move in a rotatory fashion. So if a body is free from interaction, either it has to be at rest or it has to be moving in a straight line and constant velocity. Okay, and we usually tell that every body remains at rest. It is Newton's first law. It is not only that, it moves in the same speed and same direction unless it is disturbed. So finally, Newton's first law describes inertial reference frame. What is reference frame? Already I have told in the beginning of the lecture, I have told that reference frame is nothing a coordinate system, you need a proper coordinate system to do your analysis. You can choose anything. You can choose anything. You can choose your coordinate system anything. Anything means you can have a polar coordinate system. You can also have coordinate system, natural coordinate system also available. You can have spherical coordinate system. One of my professor, when I was doing my coursework at IIT Madras, he told that the Laplacian equation can be written in 30 types of coordinate systems are available. I haven't seen that 30 types of coordinate system. I am so aware of natural, polar, spherical, and Cartesian coordinate system, and Cartesian or rectangular coordinate system. These four are I am aware of. My professor told there are 30 more coordinate system. There is also a special type of coordinate system known as toroidal coordinate system. Toroidal coordinate system means you would have seen Vada. No, it will be in this. There's also a coordinate system also like that. You can also define your own coordinate systems. You have to do how you are going to measure it. Okay, and you have to that is the thing that you want. So fine, I'll come back. What is the reference frame? Reference frame is coordinate system fitted with a timer. Okay, so coordinate system fitted with the timer. Inertial reference frame means the place that you are standing has to be at rest or in motion, straight line, constant velocity. You have to move in a straight line and a constant velocity. That is known as inertial reference frame. What is inertia? Define inertia. Inertia means I usually tell inertia is a state. Inertia is state. One thing in mass can be also told as inertia. Mass can be also is a quantification of inertia. Mass is not inertia, it's quantification of inertia. First law of motion describes about inertia. Inertia means I will tell it is a kind of lazy state. Lazy state means if you are always in rest, you are on rest. If you are so fat or so big, you will be always sleeping. Means that is also the rest state is also rest. And Newton, as per the statement, in a philosophical sense, you are doing the same work repeatedly without any change. That is also a state of inertia. When we will change that state, unless something start disturbing our state, that state is the state is disturbed, we will change that state. Inertia is nothing. Inertia is a state. In Tamil, I'll tell is manda nilai. Oh, like that. I have understood that. So inertia is a state of a object. Okay. So Newton first law explains the geometry of the motion. Geometry of the motion means kinematics is by using geometry of motion. He explained using geometry of motion. Using geometry of motion, Newton explained net force equal to 0. Okay, net force equal to 0 means acceleration equal to 0. Okay, finally I reframed the Newton's first law by my convenience, and everything as I have made it in a compact. In an inertial reference frame, a body is free from interaction. Free from interaction means it means will experience 0 net force, and it will be in rest or will be in a uniform straight line motion. I reframe this Newton's. Everything, whatever there in the Newton first law is there. So always in hereafter we should tell Newton first law is nothing but a body at rest remains at rest. It's not that a body in constant velocity straight line motion will be the net force is 0. Okay, fine. And here now it comes to the Newton's second law. Newton's second law and the first law is valid only. It works very good. Only it's exactly the values are measured only correct in the inertial reference frame. If you are standing on an inertial reference frame and doing the analysis, Newton first law and second law works. So here when we put the left hand side, if you see means what's this? What's written here? Summation of forces. Summation of forces means net force, unbalanced force, net force, unbalanced force, equivalent force, equivalent single force are the terminologies that can be used here. It can be also told as summation of the external forces can be also told as. Newton's laws are subtle. So I mean, tell in Tamil means it has to be minutely detailed with lots and lots of fact. So I have listed only a small thing in this lecture. I can't. It took many years to make this law. And this law has been reframed from Aristotle to Newton. It has taken more than 2000 years to rechange Aristotle's statement to Newton's statement. Okay, so I have done a little bit detailing in this lecture. For 1 hour, I can make as much kind of things. In the Newton's second law, summation of forces, net force, is equal to the rate of change of linear momentum. Newton, in his book of Principia, he didn't write summation of forces is equal to mass times acceleration. He didn't write anywhere in his book summation of m into a. For our convenience, we always think that ma, we will be doing that. So Newton wrote in this fashion: d by dt of p vector. P vector means mass into velocity vector. Linear momentum means mass into velocity vector. So if I do the Leibniz product rule, so what will we have? If I substitute PV, the PV, MV into that equation, that is equal to M into dV vector by dt plus V vector equal to dm by dt. Okay, so this is the full statement of here. So this is only valid for a system. For a system, you can use this. For a system, you can use this if you have a system, constant mass system. In your system, if you have a mass 1 kilogram of mass, and the 1 kilogram of mass, and we are doing the experiment, and the 1 kilogram of mass still remains the same. The mass is not going to change. That with respect to time, when you're doing analysis, your timer will be keep on moving. When your timer keep on moving, the mass in the system remains constant. When I was giving my first lecture, my student, I told my student, we are standing here in the classroom during your lunch break. You go to your hostel. Will you have any change in mass? They told, yes, we can have small change in mass of sweat or something. Engineering is always based on analysis, assumptions based on assumptions and approximations. Engineering will be always, we engineers want to do things in a very simple way, so we always go with assumptions and approximation. Everywhere in a formula that we are learning in engineering, if you see insurance, no, we'll put insurance, there will be a star here, there will be a star on the top of the line, conditions apply will tell. So whenever you are studying an equation or a law or a theory or a formula, that first thing that you have to keep in mind, this formula or equation is valid at which case. We have to think like that. We have to think, and we have to look over what are the assumptions and approximation behind it. And that equation is valid only at that scenario. Newton's law is a law. These laws has been not been this laws has been done from any basics. It has been done from any basics. These are the laws verified by experiments. These are the laws are verified by experiments. They are done by they have been still correct, and the first law and the second law is still valid only in the inertial reference frame. Okay, so the second, I told you the first case dm by dt is 0. Why dm by dt is 0? Constant mass system. The mass is not going to change with respect to time. Case 2. Case 2 is nothing but we are going to eliminate the dv vector by dt, and here we have a constant mass changing system. We have a mass changing system. That means simply think like a balloon. There is a sack box. Balloon is moving up, and if you put a hole on it, the mass in the balloon, air in the balloon will be changing. And if you streamline the balloon to move in a constant velocity or something, giving an example, this doesn't work in a physical sense. If you think a system which has velocity constant and the mass is changing, you should apply Newton's second law in this fashion. So I have done here Newton's second law is for Newton's second law is for m into dv by dt plus v into dm by dt. In the short time, I couldn't give more examples. It has to be understood with more examples. More examples has been given to this to understand. So, and when it comes to the Newton third law, we will tell that Newton third law, we are most comfortable with Newton third law. We'll tell that force, what we'll tell, no, every action has a equal and an opposite reaction. That is the thing that we will tell. Actually, this is the statement which I came to know about in the last February, I think so. I came to know about these statements. I collected not this February, last February 2019. I reframed these Newton's third law. When I went with the more sources of book, I finally collected these kind of informations. Until this my age, I come to know about these are things. I don't know whether is there's more about Newton's third law. Newton's third law is valid in inertial reference frame and also in non-inertial reference frame. So physical forces comes by pair. I will tell my student that force is a romantic guy. He always come with a pair. He doesn't comes alone. In the world, there is no isolated force. We don't have any isolated force in the world. Always, if you have a force, it will be associated. Will also have the same pair of force in not on the same body. That force will be on the different body. It will be not on the same body. So the same magnitude, same equal value. 1 Newton means in this body, the same 1 Newton will be there on the another body. So you have to identify that interaction pair. That means you have to, this is known as action and reaction pair. That is, they'll be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. They act on different bodies, not on the same bodies, collinear, and they adjust itself to with respect to time. Okay, I'll explain this Newton third law. If I'm pushing my hand like this, I am giving a force on the hand, and at the same time, the hand gives force on me. This is Newton's third law. One force will be on the wall, and another force will be on the hand. This too, the force on this and the force on this will be the force on this and the force on this. Hand and wall, they are two different objects. Okay, so Newton's third law means one thing. Why our hand is paining when we hit the wall? When we hit the wall light, our hand will pain light. When we hit the wall so strong means what happens? Our hand will pain a lot. Why it's paining a lot? I make it in a funny way that the wall hits me. Wall is giving a force to me. So that is the force on my hand by the wall, and I give a force from my hand on the wall. If you have weight and normal force, if you have done engineering, you should note that you will draw free body diagram. In the free body diagram, we will draw only one body. In the free body diagram, we'll draw only one body. Sometimes weight will be there and the normal force will be there. They are not Newton pair. They are not Newton third law pair, and they are not due to the consequence of Newton third law. Weight is due to the influence of the earth. When the body is on the earth, the body will be pulled by the earth. This is a force on the body due to the earth, and the earth will also have the same force. The force on the earth by the ball, or something. If you have a ball, force on the ball by the earth. So here we will have force on the earth by the ball. Also, we'll have two forces. These are known as interaction pairs. Actually, I have done a video in my YouTube channel regarding Newton third law, and if you go through that, means it will be very clear. And I have a YouTube channel named Unic Academy, UNIC Academy. You can go there and watch. Also, I have done 2 videos on Newton's third law. You can go and watch it there. And one thing, these are the things. You might ask me, hey, why you want to know our laws, these kind of thing, and you want to know about these kind of thing. If you're going to a research domain or doing lots and lots of, you're going advanced dynamics also, You have to know these kind of concepts, every concept which have been detailed here, or it would be very clear for you. So you can go and watch in my channel also. You can explain this, and you might think that, hey, as an engineer, do we know, or do you know, want to know these kind of things? You might ask. These I have collected in the inertial and non-inertial reference frame. This statement I got it from the Tamil Nadu State Board book, the latest Tamil Nadu State Board book. I got this word from last February. I told you, no. So learning is not happen in a single day. Learning could not be in learning could not happen in a single day. So it takes time period. 1900. That means 1900 years it took to change a law. So still the law has been reframed. There are lots to learn also. So reference frame, there are two reference frame: inertial reference frame and non-inertial reference frame. Inertial reference frame means Newton first law defines inertial reference frame. Newton first law and second law is valid only in the inertial reference frame. And non-inertial reference frame means the choice of coordinate fitted in the place where the Newton law is not valid is known as non-inertial reference frame. Still lots and lots and more are there to learn in mechanics and learn in Newton law. This is not the end of the Newton's law. The thing is, you have to explore a lot. I have given some terminologies. Please go and do your research on Newton's law, and there are lots to explore in Newton's law. This is not the end, and this is not going to be the Bible, and there are lots. And I hope in the future lecture of this Newton same lecture, I would give more details. So if you want to explore more in mechanics, you have to know about system, the degrees of freedom, constraint, general coordinates, and equations of the motion. You have to be very clear about these words to study mechanics of motion, mechanics. And in classical mechanics, you need a point always to do an analysis. If you are analyzing a car, you will do the analysis of the entire car. You will make it as a point and do. And that point which you have to choose in a car, that's nothing but the center of the mass, because it is complete, independent, and unique. And the learning is not going to end till our life. So you have to learn it, and we have to keep on learning. The roots of the education are always bitter. Sometimes when we start our learning process, it will be so tough. We know during our school days itself, but the end result where we get from the education is definitely going to be so sweet. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this event. Thank you for making me to this event. And this is my contact number. You can contact my number, and here this is my phone number. You can WhatsApp me, on Telegram me, and we have a YouTube channel, and we do have our online classes also for going to start. If you are still want to contact me, and now if you're not willing to contact join the class, you want to chat for any kind of help, please do contact me, and this is my number. Thank you for the management and for the HOD of the department and professors of the department, and the opportunity given by, and thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Arun sir. It was really an interesting session. Thank you. Can we have some Q&A or?
Yes, sir, we can have.
Participants, if you have any questions or clarifications related to this, you can post in the chat box so that Arun sir can address you. I've also posted the certificate form in the chat box. Participants can fill it before you leave. If you have any clarifications or doubts related to today's topic, you can have a word with Arun sir.
Newton third law is the reason for we had a question. Can we say Newton third law is the reason he came up with the first law? No, actually first law was given by Galileo. First law was given by Galileo. Galileo, and first and second law was given by Galileo. Could you explain how F equal to ma came? Galileo did some more experiment about the change in velocity. Aristotle told that Aristotle conveyed that the nature state of the body is rest. Nature state of the body is rest. But Galileo told that it's not. He went for a college to do medicine, but he was so interested to do. He was so interested to do maths. He was so interested in mathematics. Finally, what happens? Galileo did so more experiments to disprove Aristotle, and he studied the motion. By experiment, he came with Newton's Newton's second law that we tell this. And one thing, he did some simple experiment. One simple experiment he did. He took some slope and he rolled a ball. He took some slopes and rolled a ball. With that, he did some experiments, Galileo. And the experiment during the period when Galileo did was very crucial. They don't have a timer at that time. He had some water. I am not clear about it. He had some water and he closed it. And when the ball reaches the time, he has to remove the water droplet. I couldn't get it. But the experiment done by Galileo was so crucial, and he has spent so lots and lots time. He took lots of time to come across this. And there was also a confusion bit. It's the velocity is the rate of change of time, or acceleration is the rate of change of time, or rate of change of position. There was a confusion priorly also. Finally, at a point of time, they came to know about acceleration is nothing but rate of change of time. The historical aspects, we see that. F equal to ma is simply by experiment. Experiment only. Is there any question you can ask? And one thing, if you want to learn in mechanics, I will suggest a book known as Rudra Pratap. Rudra Pratap. It's available online. You can go. I was planning to write a book on mechanics. When I saw that book, finally I understood that I'm not fit to write a book because that is awesome work. Awesome work has done. Rudra Pratap, and he is a professor.
Sir,
Tell me,
I have a small question.
sir.
So how the Navier-Stokes and Newton's law has been related? Navier-Stokes equation and Newton's law. Is there any relation?
Yes, sir. We do have a relation between that. Actually, today I was thinking to merge that that content also in this lecture. Unfortunately, I couldn't include that. I will explain you. F equal to ma. Okay. Ma is will be ma is on the right part. You can keep it as, and it's a summation of force. For the Navier-Stokes equation, the summation of force will be is the gravity force, the viscous force, the gravity force and viscous force, and the hydrostatic force. These forces will be there. The pressure force will be there. This is Navier-Stokes equation. The summation of force, in the summation of forces, we will have these three: viscous force, gravity force, and hydrostatic force that we will have. And if you want to study Euler, we'll remove Euler equation. Euler equation will remove viscous force. If you want to study Reynolds equation, in the Navier-Stokes equation, please add in the Navier-Stokes equation the three terms: gravity, pressure, and viscous. You add turbulence force. If you add, that means it's Reynolds equation. If you add also surface tension also, it becomes Newton's equation.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Navier-Stokes is also known as conservation of momentum also. Second law is also known as conservation of momentum equation.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. If you want, I can text you also separately. I can write and send you. If you want to get a clear idea. Please tell me the Rudra Pratap. Rudra Pratap, Rudra Pratap, and the professor is from IIC Bangalore. A very awesome book of engineering mechanics. More than 1,000 pages it's there. Very great book. I hope it is available on the internet. Rudra, RUDRA PRATAP. Rudra Pratap. More than 1,200 pages. Very awesome book. I haven't. Yeah. You can have it. That's the name. Engineering mechanics. It's available on the online, or you can buy it. It's best.
Also, I think we can close. I think there
Okay,
is
sir.
no more
Thank you, sir.
questions.
Thank you, sir.
So I thank once again from Department of Mechanical Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology. I really thank for your precious time and knowledge for sharing with the students in the academic community.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So you can end the call from your side. I'll end after 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.